congratulations for Peace by Chocolate.
Thank you so much. How's the audio sounding on your end?
Yeah, sounds great.
Okay, cool.
Sounds great. All right. Well, anyways, before you logged on, it was kind of funny because I was trying to look for this chocolate online and then realized it's only a Canadian-based company as I'm here in the United States.
As of now, I think that's going to change soon. So I know they're trying to move up, making sure the chocolate's available in the U.S. with the movie launch coming soon. So
I know after watching that your film Peace by Chocolate, I was like having this desire for their chocolate all of a sudden. It was a nice 90-minute commercial for them. That was wonderful.
Well, I hope you rummaged through your cabinets and found something to eat quickly. So
Jonathan, tell us how you came across this story and when you made the decision to make it into a full-length feature film for yourself.
Sure. So I'm Canadian. I'm from Nova Scotia myself. And back in 2015, we had a really big momentous shift in our government. And part of that came as a campaign promise to bring 50,000 Syrian refugees within a matter of months. And so the Hadhad family were one of those stories that came from new Canadians settling, and they came to Nova Scotia. And as soon as I saw this story, it immediately resonated with something very personal about my experience growing up in Nova Scotia and the tight-knit communities that come together and help people. And what better way to spread that story than a feature film?
So when you first heard of it, was it through the news or through the book or?
It was through the news, yeah. So there was a lot of news coverage on, tracking different families and seeing how they were doing. I think we had a really collective pride in Canada about seeing how the government and us Canadians were supporting people in need. And one of the stories that was followed in the Nova Scotia news was the story of Tareq. And I came on board very early in the process, only months really into their journey before the story had really unfolded. But there were enough elements in there that I knew the heart of this story was something that I needed to get out beyond Nova Scotia, beyond Canada, into the world.
So how did you approach the family to agree to make their story into a feature film, and how did you wanted to, I want to say, kind of fictionalize it? And obviously for feature film sake, right?
For sure, yeah. I mean, I just approached them. I said, look, hey, I've got a Nova Scotia background. I'm here based in LA. This is the kind of story that I want to tell, stories that are uplifting, that have kind of a positive outcome to them. We have a lot of stories of negativity in the news and media, and definitely tons of stories about refugees that don't, they're really important, and it's important that we're telling them, but I don't think it leaves people with an action step, something they can do to actually help their community. And so I said, look, this is the story we need to tell together. And I flew to Nova Scotia. I met with the community. I met with the family. I really did my research very closely to find if this was going to be a story I could tell authentically. And it seemed like a great partnership. And we just worked together from there. And this was almost 4 years ago. So,
wow, it sounds like the family is very, very tight knit and agreeable to tell the story to you.
Definitely. And, I wanted to make sure, so many based on a true stories, you don't know how true it is, right? Obviously, there's some fictional elements. Any good drama or dramatist is going to make it work for screen. But I like to think that we really are telling the emotional truth of their story. And that is what should ring true to anybody who's watching. And I think it rings true to the community and the family themselves. So.
Absolutely, I completely understand dramatizing for a feature film. But hey, tell me this: was the competing chocolate store, was that fictionalized? Because I would feel sorry for her.
That is a fictionalized storyline. Then again, every town has multiple chocolatiers in it, and I think it's a very important, nuanced part of the film, which is that you know, you have people coming from a different country, from a different side of the world, and doing something that may compete with somebody who's been there for many years. And that's okay. And that's hard. You know, we all have to take different responsibilities in how we accept newcomers. And sometimes that means changing your business a little bit, or adapting. And there's nothing wrong with that. So
I found this story fascinating, is because it seems like Canadians are so much more, how do you say, friendlier towards refugee immigrants after this film like this, especially towards Syrians, which is we have a different perspective over here on this side of the border.
yeah, I mean, what do I say? I'm biased. Obviously, I'm Canadian, but I do live. I mean, I've been living in the States for 10 years, and I've met lots of really nice people here too. You know, who are very accepting. But you know, I think there's a different political climate, right? And the hyper politicized nature of the United States, I don't think it helps people all the time. You know, it doesn't help people who are considered the other. And so that's why, you know, this kind of story, I think, is what should be in the media, because it shows us that we all can get along, and there's we're all human beings, right? Doesn't matter where we're from.
So tell us where this your production actually took place. You didn't go directly to the original place in what was it called? Antigonish?
Antigonish. Nova Scotia has really strange names for the town. Growing up there, you know, you think it's normal, but then when you leave, you realize no one names towns like they do in Nova Scotia. Antigonish. We actually did shoot some of the film in Antigonish in the middle of winter, you know, so all the exteriors and everything you see in the town is exactly how it is. And, you know, but the principal photography took place in Montreal, so it's a Canadian film. We had a French crew. I like to say we had 3 languages on set constantly: Arabic, English, and French. So it's a very multicultural experience hearing languages like that, you know, every day. So
was that difficult for you as a director, dealing with all these different languages on set?
oh yeah, 100%. You know, I mean, I speak English. You know, I have a little bit of French skills from my time in Canada, but, you know, not knowing what your crew is always saying is like, you know, and then your cast. But, you know, we had, luckily through our executive director, Shadi Dali, who's a Syrian businessman, he was able to bring on the great Hatem Ali, who unfortunately passed really suddenly. And he was and is a very well-regarded Syrian and Middle Eastern director and actor. So I was able to have somebody who is at the top of their craft on set with me, who understood all the nuances of the Arabic language and the Syrian culture. And also the other Arab actors, not only were they telling the story of the Hadhad family, they were telling their own story. They'd all gone through a similar experience. They all have gone through a similar experience of having to leave their home at short notice and make a new life for themselves. So having all of that on set and having that energy, it really, you know, language was difficult, but we all understood why we were there and what we were trying to do, and that it was important. And so there was just a sense of respect from everybody, even if we didn't speak the same language.
I was going to remark about the cast. The cast is wonderful, and you basically everyone was authentically you know, from the Middle East, right?
Yeah, and that was something, you know, that we see in media that I really wanted to make sure that we didn't do. You know, the cultural appropriation that happens in mainstream media, that was something that, you know, I think it's a real disservice to the communities that stories are being told about. So everything down to the accent. So it's obviously a big burden on the production team, that you're saying, okay, you need somebody from the Middle East who speaks Arabic, who has a Syrian accent, but not only a Syrian accent, one that is from the Damascus region. So anybody who is speaking Arabic can understand that this is a family, that they all sound similar, because every region in Syria has a different accent. And of course, to us Westerners, you know, it all sounds the same, but it's very important to people who do understand that, and that it feels authentic. So finding that was a huge challenge, but we managed to do it. And I think, you know, some of the cast, Ayham, who plays the lead, this was his first major production he ever did. he had a month to like make it work and pick up and work with myself and Hatem, and I think he did a great job. So
I think that's wonderful. Could you tell us about reproducing their chocolate workshop? Is that down to the detail of the actual workshop that they actually had?
100%. Yeah. So again, authenticity was something that was really important, not just on the Syrian side, but on the Nova Scotian side. So, the very first shed they had before they had their real chocolate factory was kind of a baby barn. So, we had photos of the original. I, of course, had visited it many times, but my production designer, David Blanchard, was down to the detail of the awning and like, making sure the size was authentic. Of course, shooting in a teeny space like that is really difficult when you've got a steady cam and your sound and all your crew. But we were able to make it work, and that's why I love the section at the end where you get to see the real shed right beside the house. And it's one of my favorite scenes in the film, is actually when their little baby barn arrives on the front lawn, because it's like it's the magic of the community, giving them something back.
That baby barn looks so small. How did you pull off your film production? I mean, that must have been one tight space to work in.
Yeah, so we shot in the middle of the winter, so a lot of production actually took place in this mansion, 17-room mansion that we turned into a film studio. We all lived together under as a roof, as a cast and crew, with our 3 languages. And so in the living room, we rebuilt the shed with removable walls. So we could take a wall out or, move, the ceiling. So we could, we also picked a very wide lens. We shot on 21 mil with the Alexa, just did our best. Of course, that limits what you can do with the visual language, but so much of the film is moving camera, 2 shots, really authentically being in the moment, that I don't think it really affected the film in the end.
So tell us the truth. How much chocolate did you really go through on this production?
A lot. Oh my God. So the family, they sent us a huge shipment before we started shooting right from the factory. But the trick was not having the cast eat it all, because we were looking at chocolate for a whole month. And I said, guys, we have to keep it or we're going to run out of chocolate. Our production designer, David, he learned how to make chocolate during his Christmas break. We had the actual chocolate wheel from the chocolate supplier that they use in their factory to use in the shed. And he learned how to make chocolate. So we had extra spares to have around. But I had to say, everybody, like, please don't eat. And then on the very last day, I said, it was a free for all, just take all the chocolate. And within 20 minutes, it was gone. So, yeah.
So for those of us who don't know and waiting patiently for Peace by Chocolate to go worldwide, hopefully, is Syrian chocolate really that good, or is it just a Canadian taste?
I mean, everyone has a different taste in chocolate. So, but I enjoy it. There are a lot of elements in their design, and some of the like dried fruit and nuts that Issam, has crafted. But he also was very aware of like making a version that Canadian. So they have their maple leaf version and their maple chocolates, and I think they really wanted to make a multicultural product, something that would be representative of all cultures, and they do that really well in their business. So, but I really like it. I liked it from the beginning. Every time you visit, they give you chocolate, and it's great.
Well, after this film, you probably earn some kind of special VIP chocolate for life with them, hopefully.
Yeah, I probably, but yeah.
So this being your first feature film, how was that overall experience for you?
I have a strong documentary background, and I went to USC, University of Southern California, for my MFA in directing, where I had a really great team of mentors in the documentary faculty. And telling a true story involves a lot of documentary techniques. You've got to interview people, you've got to discover what is the story, what's at the emotional core, where is the drama, where is the tension, who are the characters. All these are the same building blocks as fiction, right? And that was very exciting for me, because instead of just being in a void and just creating things, which obviously happened, you know, at some point, I still got the experience of meeting people and learning about a culture that honestly I wouldn't have learned as much about. And you know, the Middle Eastern and Syrian people are so friendly. They're so welcoming, and it's such the opposite of the stereotype that sometimes they get in the world, you know, the Middle Eastern people. It's really the opposite of that. So I hope people can see that kindness and friendly nature. And I was really pleased to have them on this first production. So
that is great. And before I forget, also congratulations for showcasing this at with Tribeca, right?
Tribeca, yeah. I mean, we couldn't ask for a better home to launch. You know, it's just a great festival, and I like to really applaud them for having such a multicultural slate of films this year. They had a really good lineup, but just, you know, I think there was 5 Arab films. In one of us is our film, but it's just great to see a festival prioritizing diversity.
Well, most excellent. And one more thing before I let you go, Jonathan, was obviously you screened this for the family, and did you witness anything on their faces, or what their remarks are right after they watched their story unfolded?
Unfortunately, due to COVID and some very strict travel restrictions to Canada, which are going to be lifted in a few days, I was not able to watch their faces directly. But you know, I have really good relationships with the community and the family, and was able to get immediate feedback. So you know, all was good. Unfortunately, we weren't able to be together under the same roof, but there'll be many screenings coming up. We've got a really robust festival schedule coming up in the US and Canada, and hopefully a great release later this year.
Most excellent. I think this is a wonderful family feature film that everyone should actually watch, because it's so heartwarming and inspirational. I think you did a terrific job, Jonathan.
Thank you so much, and I really appreciate you taking the time to watch and feature me today. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Hey, thank you very much. Next time.
All right, next time, yes, of course.